Hi friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And Pickle, she's making another appearance. She loves October just like I do. It's a thing in our house, so she decided to come down here. Obviously she has something up her sleeve, and we're gonna find out later on what that is. So I'm gonna put her right here so she can relax. And what I have for you today are some great horror sequels. I have 10 of them that I picked out. I could have done 50. There's just an endless amount of great horror sequels. And what makes a great sequel? To me, it has to be at least as good, if not better than the original. It has to maybe expand on the original story, maybe flesh out the characters a little better. Maybe they put more money into it, so it's a bigger budget, so you have better sets, better special effects, all that stuff. So it has to definitely hold up to the original and then take it to the next level. So I just have 10, like I said, and I'm going to get right into it with my first one, which is considered a prequel, but it came after the first one, so I'm calling it a sequel, and that is Mia Goth in Pearl. And I absolutely love Pearl. I think I even like it more than X, and I really did like X, but I feel like Pearl answered so many questions that I had while I was watching X, and I think Pearl made X a better movie. I think the addition of this definitely made X a better movie, and I know X was a better watch for me personally after seeing Pearl. I think the story is great. I think the backstory of her character, the Maxine character, I think it's great. And I love where they went with this. I love that they just singled her out and showed her story. And wow, she's absolutely unhinged in this. If you haven't seen Pearl and you like X, I highly recommend it. And I would even say maybe watch this, then X, and then if you want to watch Maxine, watch it. I'm still making friends with Maxine, but Pearl is definitely my first one in the great horror sequel picks. And my next one, I think, I have dog hair on me, I'm sorry. I think this might be one of the best horror sequels ever. And it's a classic. It's from 1935, and it is The Bride of Frankenstein. This is the brand new 90th anniversary steelbook that came out from Universal. It's got the nice, I can't really lean towards the camera, but it has a nice Universal branding on the back, and then we have the great image of the Bride of Frankenstein. I'm also wearing it on my shirt. And I think that this is one of the best horror sequels out there. And it, like I said, it's a classic. It's in black and white, and it picks up right where the original left off. And we once again are reintroduced to Frankenstein's monster. And what I feel like makes this so good is that the monster doesn't just stay the same. He evolves. He starts to explore. He leaves the lab, as you know, and he starts to explore the world around him, and he finds that he's interested in things. He meets a fellow with music. He's listening to music. He's eating food. He's learning how to speak. We actually have a speaking monster in this one. And then he tells the guys in the lab that he wants a friend. He wants a friend that's like him, and that's how we get the Bride of Frankenstein. And that's the long and the short of it. If you haven't seen the Bride of Frankenstein, put it high on your list. It is absolutely fantastic. I never get tired of watching this one, and I was so happy that they gave it a nice 4K steelbook release. It looks beautiful. And my next one, this might surprise some folks a little bit, but I really do enjoy this one as a sequel. I think it's really good, and it is Psycho 2. This is it's a 4-pack of Psycho, all 4 films, but I really like Psycho 2. I think it's great. It takes place 22 years after the events that happened at the Bates Motel. Anthony Perkins, his character Norman Bates, has done his time. He's out. He's trying to make a life for himself, and excuse me, he really just wants to be left alone and live his life. And as hard as he tries, it's just like he can't shake his past, and he has these moments, and you see where he's trying to evolve. He's tried to make peace with whatever demons he has in his head, but he just can't let it go. And this is so good. I think this is a really, really strong sequel. I think they did a great job. I love how they built up on the Norman Bates character and let us get a better peek inside what was going on in his head, and we got to know him better. And it's a shame. I was really rooting for him all through this movie, but I really do like Psycho 2. I think it's fantastic. Okay, and this next one is from George A. Romero, and it is the follow-up to Night of the Living Dead, and this is Dawn of the Dead. And we had Night of the Living Dead in 1968. This is from 1978, and you probably have all seen this one. We still have the problem with the walking, the dead who are walking, and we have a group of people who end up holed up in a mall. And that's a perfect place to be if you're in a zombie apocalypse, is to be in the local mall. And what they're trying to do is keep themselves safe from the inevitable carnage that's going on outside, and they're trying to figure out how to keep these zombies away from them and how to hide out in the mall. And they have this little room that they're barricaded in, but they go out in the mall, you know, they explore trying to look for supplies, and you could just imagine what happens. If you haven't seen this one, definitely pick this one up and check it out, because it is well worth it. And I feel like this one takes Night of the Living Dead and it takes it to the next level. You have better special effects. I think Tom Savini did the special effects for this, so you know it's going to be a winner. And they just take it, it's 10 years later, so they had more to work with. And yes, it's different characters, but they had more of a storyline, that you found out more about what was happening outside in the world. And I just feel like they built upon the success of the original and they took it to a new level. So I really do like this one. It's one I go back to again and again. So Dawn of the Dead had to be on my list. And this next one, we're going to do one more and then we're going to find out why Pickle's down here. But anyway, this one is Halloween 2018. And it took me a little bit to warm up to this one. I wasn't sure. I think the trailer really ruined this. This is when I stopped watching trailers, because they gave away all the best parts for this particular movie. But the buzz was that this was supposed to be the direct sequel to the original 1978. They said, forget everything else you know from the franchise and just go with this one. This is the movie that comes after 1978. Now, of course, it's years in the future, but we start out and we see the events of, they do a really good job of showing the events, expanding on the events that happen in the 1978 film, like them arresting Michael, or trying to arrest Michael, catching Michael, whatever you want to do. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But they do a really good job of taking us back to 1978, and they did a really good job of capturing the vibe of 78 with the clothing and the cars and just the whole atmosphere, the whole look of the neighborhood. And we definitely see them confront Michael, and then we see things that happen, and then we fast forward to current day, and of course, you know, we see what happened with Laurie and the condition she's in, and we're off to the races. But I think this is a really solid sequel. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. It fits much better. I'm not a big fan of Halloween 2. I know some people are. I'm not the biggest fan. So this is a nice kind of replacement for that. And I like that it was modernized. I like that we saw where everyone was. People had grown up that had been kids, and I like how they worked this one in. I just wish I hadn't seen the trailer before I saw the movie in theaters. So Halloween 2018 is my next one, and then we're going to pick up our friend here and see what she's up to, because now she's pretty much sleepy. She's very sleepy. So here she is. She's back to no good. She's going to give kisses. Thank you. She likes my chapstick. I have lemon lime chapstick on. What Pickle has... You can't have chapstick. What she's done is she has gone shopping again. And what she picked up this time, I told you we've sent in and sold a lot of movies. We've cashed in and sold a lot of movies. 32 boxes. So Pickle took it upon herself to take a little bit of that money and buy an extra copy of Weapons on 4K. So this is what's up for grabs. This is what Pickle picked out. This is one of my, probably my favorite horror movie of the year. I love Weapons. I know it's very popular. I know a lot of people like it. So that is what Pickle has up for grabs this time. I am going to take her and put her back up in her crate because she's getting a little fussy and I think she's uncomfortable. So I want her to rest, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you how to enter to win the Pickle prize situation. I'll be right back. Okay, friends, I'm back, and our little co-host is back upstairs with her sister. She's resting comfortably. She's doing very well. She saw her vet this week. Clean bill of health. She just needs to rest for a few more weeks, and then we're slowly going to work in some activity. But I apologize if I seem distracted. I get nervous when she's down here. I'm afraid she's going to fall or jump or whatever. I did make a mistake when I was talking about Pearl. I mentioned Maxine. It's not Maxine. She is still Pearl in this movie, so I do apologize. See? Distracted. But let's get back to why Pickle was down here, and that is for the Pickle Prize, weapons. This is the 4K in digital. This is going to be a US only for now. Like I told you, if we hit 8,000 subscribers, I will do a US and international giveaway. I'll figure something out. This is a US only giveaway, Pickle Prize, whatever you want to call it. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and leave Pickle a comment down below. Hi Pickle, how you doing Pickle? What's up? Let's hang out Pickle, whatever. Just talk to Pickle in the comments. I will then put your name into a random comment generator. I'm going to do that next Sunday. That's October 26th. The cutoff time is 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. After that, I will post the winner over on the community tab or the post tab on the homepage of the channel. You'll see the name come up. All you have to do is either leave me a comment. If it's you, leave me a comment there, and we will arrange some way for us to correspond so I can get your mailing address. Don't leave your mailing address in the comments. We'll figure it out. So that's the pickle situation for this week. I hope you're happy with it, and if you, for some reason, are not 4K compatible, I'll figure out how to get you a Blu-ray. So moving on, I'm just going to buzz through these last 5 and we'll be out of here. The next one should be no surprise. It is The Devil's Rejects, one of my favorite movies of all, horror movies of all time. I love, love, love this one. This is the brand new Lionsgate Steelbook that just came out. I know a lot of people were kind of bummed because I think it only has the theatrical cut, but I'm fine with it. I'm just happy to have it on 4K. That's the front. This is the back. You have a lot of characters piled on there, but I like it. And it is a 3-disc set. You have disc art. There is also a digital code, and there is a bunch of like cards that come with it with little notes on the back, and they're pretty cool. But I like this release. It's available on Amazon now. I don't think everybody was rushing out to get it, so I'm sure it's readily available. It's not like other things that sell out in 5 minutes. So if you want The Devil's Rejects, that's how to get it. Anyway, I love this as a sequel. I think it's such a great sequel and such a step up from House of a Thousand Corpses. Now, don't get me wrong. I love House of a Thousand Corpses, but it was so obvious that it was such a low-budget film. It felt like a low-budget film. It felt like an independent film. I love that about it. It was gritty. It was grimy. It was definitely what it was supposed to be. And it was a fantastic movie. I love it. But once you go to this definitely felt more like a high budget movie. We fleshed out the characters. We had our Firefly crew. We learned more about them. We got to see their personalities. We got to see how they worked together. Special effects were better. The storyline was better. I thought everything about this was elevated. It was a different experience, but it still had that gritty, grimy, indie feeling, but just on a higher level. I absolutely love this, and I loved getting to know the characters better, and I loved seeing them interact together, because I felt like in House of a Thousand Corpses they were a little scattered, but we kind of got to know them. But with this one, I just loved everything about it. I loved how the 3 of them worked together and how they worked with the family, and I just thought this was a winner. And I think a lot of people, if they even bother to watch this trilogy, if you're somewhat of a fan of the trilogy, most people pick this one as their favorite. It's 1 and 2 with me with House of a Thousand Corpses. I like that for its own reasons, but this is such a winner, and I just think it's just such a big step up from the technical aspect of it and the storytelling and, like I said, the characters. But I just think this is a winner, and I'm gonna stop gushing about that because it's getting annoying. But my next one, and I think this is a very popular one too. Now, this is more of a horror comedy. We have Bruce Campbell in Army of Darkness, and this is the 3rd in the Evil Dead trilogy. It's Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I did have a hard time deciding between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. I could have done both of them. I thought they were both great, but I think with each installment of this, it just gets better and better. But this has so much comedy. I think Bruce Campbell, Ash's character played by Bruce Campbell, I think his character really comes out in this one. He's so funny. He starts with the lines. He's really finding his grooviness, and I just think this is cool. We have him in a situation where he gets transported back to like 1300 AD, and he has to figure out a way to fight his way back to current time, and still dealing with the Book of the Dead. Tom Savini did I believe Tom Savini directed this. So if Tom Savini has his hand in anything, it's going to be fantastic. Bruce Campbell's fantastic. He's so fantastic as Ash. He's funny, funny, funny. This is just a good time. This movie is a blast. And if I'm going to pick one of the Dead movies to put in, the Evil Dead movies, it's probably going to be this one. And that's how it ended up being on my list over Evil Dead 2. Now, don't get me wrong. I like them all. But if I'm going to just pick one to put my feet up and watch, it's probably going to be Army of Darkness every time. But I just love it, and I love Bruce Campbell. And I wish the lines weren't so long to meet him, because I'd love to meet him. But it's like, it's a production to get to meet him. Now, these next three are going to come as no surprise. Well, maybe the third one will come as a surprise, but I kind of just went the basic route with these. My next one is Scream 2, and I'm going to tell you why. I didn't cop out on this one. It's not laziness. This really is my favorite sequel out of what is now a franchise, and let me tell you why. I thought that Scream, the original Scream, was such a breath of fresh air. I've said this before. It was something new and fresh and hip and different and cool that came out at a time when horror really needed to kind of go in a different direction. And it also had all the callbacks to the OG, all the rules about surviving a horror movie. It had all of that. And then what they did is we had the killer reveal, whatever. And then they had it where they had a Scream 2. And what I really like about this is there's no like supernatural thing. We have a whole different story. And we're going in a different direction. We're building on the characters. We're getting to know them better. They're in a different place. They're now in college. And even though we have a lot of the, characters that survived from the first one, I feel like they fleshed them out a little more. I feel like there was more of a story. There was more depth to it. It wasn't just a bunch of people running around. We're out of Woodsboro. We're back, we're on the college campus this time. And I just think that they didn't cop out. They didn't just go in the supernatural route. They actually came up with a new killer, a new person in the Ghostface outfit. And that is something that I've always liked about this franchise, because I know, like with Friday the 13th and with Halloween, a lot of times, and I'm sure other ones, but a lot of times they'll make it where the person just keeps coming back no matter how many times they get put through a wood chipper, or they get drowned, or they get beat up or shot, or whatever they do to them, electrocuted, they always come back. But in Scream, they always find a way to tell a different story. And it's the same theme, but it's a different story. It's a different reason. And I really do like that. And I think that they did a really good job with this one, following up on the success of the original. And I don't think this took a step back. I think it just kept the franchise moving forward. And that is what I think a good sequel should do. It should keep things moving forward, and I think this did just that. So Scream 2 is not a cop-out. I think it really is a very strong follow-up to the first one. Now this one, some of you might argue that it's not, but I really do like this one, because I think that it did things that the first one didn't do, and that's Friday the 13th Part 2. And the reason I like this one is, number one, we meet Jason. And I also think that this was before we started to get into, like I said, all that supernatural stuff. I felt like this was a step in a new direction. It kept the story moving forward. We have the original, we have all the events of that night that happened. If you've seen it, you all know. But with this one, I feel like they took that story from the first night, they moved it forward. It's been years now since the camp has been closed. They're reopening the camp. There's still that story lingering around. There's still that curse on the campsite, but they want to reopen it. We have a new bunch of people, and like I said, they're keeping the story moving forward. It's the same thing, but it's different. The characters are more complex. We get to know them a little better. We get to know the camp a little better. We get to know the stories a little better. I think it felt like, and it still doesn't feel like a high budget film. It still feels like a low budget film, but in a different way. Like, it felt like they were more concerned with letting us really care about these people that are pretty much doomed. You're all doomed. But I really do like what they did with this one, and I love, love, love Sackhead Jason. He will forever be my favorite. I know the hockey mask is iconic, but I just love the creepiness of the Sackhead Jason. I just think that they could have run with that, in my opinion, but I really do like this one. I think it's a solid sequel to the first, and I love that it didn't hit that like whole supernatural thing yet, and I just love everything about Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's a winner. Now this last one, I had to pull out the whole set. I pulled out the whole new Nightmare on Elm Street 7 film collection because I didn't have the movies individually. But what I'm going to say with this one is I'm going to go with Dream Warriors Part 3. And what I love about that one is it definitely felt like a step up from the original. Two, I don't know about the second one. It kind of focused too much on one character, but so we have the original, and then when we go to the third one, we have these kids that are still having the nightmares. They're still being haunted by Freddy Krueger. It's causing them to want to do self-harm. Maybe they're addicted, all kinds of different problems that they're having because they're not able to sleep because they're being tormented by Freddy in their dreams when they're sleeping. And what we do is we end up where they're in this psychiatric hospital, and no surprises here. Who's a psychiatrist? Nancy from the first one. And that's all I'm going to say about Nancy. But she knows, and she believes them, and she knows what's going on. And I just think that this is such a great installment to the franchise. It is probably my favorite after the first one. It's probably tied, I would say. But I just feel like this was just an elevated installment to the franchise. Again, I feel like it moves the story forward. It moves it. It's evolving. People are changing. Nancy's older. She's using her experience from the first one to draw on things in the third one to try to help these kids that are now going through what she went through. And I just think that they did a really good job of keeping the momentum that these stories need to stay interesting. The other thing that they did is, this is when they started to give Freddy's, Robert Englund's character Freddy, they started to give him like his one-liners and his zingers, and they started to insert that comedy that we love him for. And it's not over the top, but it's perfect. It just works. And they really started to perfect that, his language and how he talks in the movie. And I really think that we see the evolution. We're watching Freddy evolve as well. So I think it's a really, really strong installment to the Nightmare series, and it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite. So Dream Warriors would have to be my pick for the sequel in the Nightmare series. So those are 10 horror sequels that I really enjoy. I think they're all very solid. Like I said, I could do 5 more of these videos. I could have 50 films, and that would just be the tip of the iceberg. But I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget about the Pickle Prize. Leave Pickle some comments. Ask her what's hanging, what's going on, what she's been up to in the cage. And like I said, next Sunday the 26th, I will take care of posting that. But again, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you found some things that maybe you want to go back and rewatch. Tell me what your favorite horror sequels are. I'd love to read your comments. And that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to watch a movie. I think I'm going to eat pizza today. So I'm going to catch you in the next one. So for now, that's a wrap.